I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. For a start, just opening the shed door, let a bit of light in, see how it looks. It's raining a bit today, so we couldn't go sit outside. But it's alright with you guys. We're not going to do a review right now. It's going to be a chat with me and my pipe, which I might say, for the pipe lovers, is my, got it cheap on eBay, Byford, made in London. Quite like it. And I've got some dark Rattay's dark fragrant that was sent to me by Sir Richard Esquire, none other. And of course, I've got the coffee. So, what are we all gathered here for then? Well, I just wanted to talk about Mr Snuffs' new line of snuffs. I don't know if you noticed them, but I think, and I apologise for this, you may be thinking, Sean, we watch you to hear what you've got to say about snuffs, not snuff politics, but their chosen way of naming, it kind of rubs me up the wrong way. Maybe it's because I got a history of substance misuse and why it's touched me a little bit closer, but you know, it's like I can remember watching a YouTuber whose daughter had committed suicide, and then there was a product that was within that circle that was called suicide, and it used to upset him every time he read it, or well, he didn't promote it. I feel a bit like that. You know, when he writes names like Crack and Charlie and Toot, and it may seem funny, I suppose, to some people, but for me, I see all the people that I've known over the years that have died from it, and the suffering that I've seen it cause, and the suffering and the mess it's made of my own life in the past. I don't find it very funny. I might be wrong for that. But that's me on a personal level. But on the flip side, it seems a little bit short-sighted to me. As in, like, you know, Snuff's, it's come back into, you know, it's growing a bit now, and it's come back into popularity a little bit since all the smoking bans and that. But the way I see it, is it still seems to be on the decline, and it's, you know, it's almost dying out a bit, apart from a few of us diehards that are holding out. But there's a stigma attached to it, much like there is with other nicotine, you know, sources. And I don't know about you, like the first time I ever somewhere and they don't know me and I start pinching or sniffing this powder out of a pot, I always feel like they're looking at me like, you know, your mum's up at the school, give me a right funny look sometimes. So there's a stigma attached to it, and I feel like people jump to the conclusion that it's something illegal or it's a drug. Aren't their names just adding to it? And also, it seems to me like I may be being a little bit melodramatic here, but I've seen all this before. It happened in vaping. All that stuff started over some irresponsible labelled vape juices. You know, it started off with because they were like labelled looking like sweets and it was encouraging kids. And look at the mess that created. Over in the US, you've had all them flavour bans and nicotine bans and what have you. And over here in Europe, you know, you've got the TPD and all that stuff coming. It has slightly touched Snuff. That's why all them names changed. Why you couldn't have fruits in their names and stuff like that. You know, these things can have knock-on effects down the line. And I just think it's bad taste. It's poor taste, really. You know, calling it that kind of thing. Maybe funny for if it was kids, you know, aimed at, like, not kids, but younger adults. But I would have thought most people that are into snuff are probably past that part of their lives. Not all, obviously, but a good portion of who they expect to buy their products. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit silly. I'm being a bit sensitive about it because, as I said, of my history of substance misuses. And I mean, back then, if I'd seen it, I would have thought it was hilarious. You know, I can kind of see the funny side, but I think the negatives outweigh the pros. I think it was a bit short-sighted, and I don't think I'm gonna buy any of these products. So yeah, I don't I'm not gonna support it. Not with my cash. To be honest though, most of them just seem to be rehashes of other snuffs, just with more nicotine in it. Which I suppose there's a market for that. If you've got snuff that you really like, but it's not got enough of a kick in it. I don't know. It's just something about that. I mean, I felt like they pushed it pretty close to the line with the first round of White Snuffs. With the line and snow and, you know. But I think they've stepped over the line with this. I think they've gone a bit silly. And don't get me wrong, I buy stuff from Mr Snuff. There's some stuff that you can't get anywhere else. Let it go out. Amateur. So, you know, I'll still buy the Delakias and that from there, and I got loads of Delakias and food bars in my box I'm not going to just throw away. But yeah, I think the latest batch I'm going to give them a miss. That's where I stand on it. I'll be interested to see what feedback this video gets. Maybe I'm being an idiot. If I am, I'll hold up my hands and say, yep, it was a tit. But my gut tells me I'm not the only one that's going to feel like this. And I don't think it's just going to be people with histories like mine. I think that like people that have never touched drugs in their lives are still going to probably think this is in poor taste. Yeah, I do think it was a bit arsehole-y. But then I suppose it's another thing it's got in common with drugs. You had to acquire it through an arsehole. As I say, I've never had no problem with Mr Snuff. All my parcels have always turned up. You know, I just don't agree with that. And I think that's my right as a customer. So, you know, if you want to go and buy them, more power to you. You go on and carry on and do what you will. But do me a favour, let me know if they're any good. Because I won't be finding out.